for today's meeting. So I would like to welcome you all to William City Toastmasters Club, meeting number 498. Before starting the meeting, I would like to mention some ground rules that we follow in our Toastmasters meeting. Firstly, please turn off all your devices that will make a sound or put them in the silent mode. As a Toastmaster, we don't talk about sex, religion and politics. So please refrain yourself from talking about these topics. And also please don't cross talk. And I would like to mention that this meeting is being recorded and you will find the recordings on the YouTube for everyone to watch. So as everyone in their life has a mission to follow, we as a close, our club has also have a mission. So I would like to request everyone to please stand up and put their right hand forward and repeat after me. The mission of our Toastmasters Club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop communication skills, which in turn fosters self-confidence and personal growth. Thank you. Our presiding officer for today's meeting is someone who is a Toastmaster since January 2019. He is an HR professional and has served in ECB in the past. And now he is serving as a president of the club. So I announce the start of the meeting and would like to hand over the stage to the presiding officer, Toastmaster Ashish.
Thank you, Mohit, for the warm introduction and making us recite the mission statement of the club, just as a constant reminder that why we come together here today in the morning. And with this, I'd like to once again welcome you all with good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So as rightly mentioned that today we are meeting, it's a meeting number 498. So we have been meeting for the last 10 years. So that we are just one more meeting away to make our 500 meeting. And that 500 meeting is going to be a milestone meeting. We will have something, we will not be doing the regular meeting that we do. We will have some fun activity on that day, so that being devised among the EC members that what we are going to do on that particular meeting. So that will be shared with all of you. And if you have any input, if you want that 500 meeting to be more joyful or fun filled, you can share your opinion with the EC. So before we start the meeting, are you ready to do some exercises with me?
Yes. Yes.
Resounding yes, I need resounding yes. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So what I do, I have 10 statements with me. Right? I'll say one statement, and if the statement applies to any of you, what you have to do, you have to raise both of your hands and say that's me. That's me. It's not like that. That's me.
That's me.
Once again.
That's me.
That's me. That's me. Okay. The first statement is, I love animals.
That's me. That's me.
Both hands. Crazy sound. That's me.
That's me.
Okay. I have lived in more than one state in India.
That's me.
Okay. I am the only child of my parents.
That's not me.
I still love to watch horror movies.
That's me.
I still watch Cartoon Network.
That's me.
I don't bath during winter stay.
That's me.
Okay. I have 2 more siblings.
That's me.
Okay. I drink 2 cups of coffee or tea every day.
That's me. Me.
That's me. Lunch is my favorite meal of the day.
That's not me.
Breakfast is my favorite meal of the day.
That's me.
Okay. The last one. I spend most of my time in FB and watching FB and Instagram page. Loud.
That's me.
Thank you everyone. Thanks for your participation. moving on, announcement I'd like to make. 500 meeting, as I rightly said, that we'll be forming a committee. This will pick up from the members itself. We'll pick up the members who will be part of this committee and will be helping the EC to make 500 meetings more effective, right? So, EC team will reach out to you and we'll have to put your helping hand forward. Well, so guest introduction. I'll move to guest introduction. I see only 2 new faces here in the club. I think Preeti ma'am, right? Okay, just called up in the morning. So, any more guests? I think only 2 of you are there. So, would request you to please introduce yourself to the club and just let us know why you are here today.
Myself, maybe. I wanted to be a doctor. She is going to complete her 12th standard.
Okay.
So idea was that before she goes to college, she gets an exposure
Okay.
and it will help her English and general skills.
You would like to introduce yourself?
I am Khushi Gupta and I just completed my 12th standard. I studied PCB with psychology and I'm here just to get an idea and how to articulate and improve my speaking skills.
Great to have you. Any other announcements today? So, going forward, I have the Toastmaster of the day. The meeting is divided into 3 segments, as you all are aware of. But for the benefit of guests, I'd like to tell you that the meeting is divided into 3 segments. The first segment is comprising of Toastmaster of the day theme, wherein Toastmaster of the day will deliver a topic on a particular theme. Then we'll have a prepared speeches, wherein we have speakers who come to the stage and deliver a prepared speech there from the stage itself. And then third section is comprising of is actually table topic section, wherein you will be asked to come over the stage and you have to deliver impromptu. You will be given a topic and you have to deliver a prompt speech. And the last section, which is called the heart of the Toastmaster meeting, called evaluation section, wherein each and every segment of the meeting will be evaluated by specific evaluators. So we have evaluators for grammar, then our counter the crutch, what that you make while you speak, and then we have the grammarian, our counter, and what is the time. So we'll be evaluating all these aspects in the meeting. So that's about the structure of the meeting. And like as I mentioned that to run an event you need a MC, right? So likewise to run a small event like Toastmaster meeting, it's a small event. So to run that meeting we have the Toastmaster. The primary purpose of the Toastmaster today is to stitch together every section of the meeting that I spoke about, and will ensure that the role players are getting introduced in the right manner, and he will take us through from the beginning till the end of the meeting. So to do this honor, we have someone, I think he is not new to the club. You have seen him. He has visited our club several times, and he is the one last time he delivered speech for the evaluation contest. So let me briefly introduce himself. He joined Toastmaster in August of 2020. So I think we have not done even a year in Toastmaster, but he is achieving more than what you have experienced in Toastmaster, right? Talking about his personal engagement, he is currently working as a vice president in one of the tech startups, and by qualification he is a BTech engineer from Jamia Islamia. And talking about his Toastmaster accolades, so he has earned many accolades in Toastmaster. So he is table topic champion 2023 Division D, right? And another recently I got the opportunity to watch him there on the division level contest. So he was the first level runner for the international speech contest, and also ISC champion area 2 D2 area H4 champion, ISC champion. So runner up for division H and ISC champion for area D2. So that's the about the accolade that the speaker Pulkit has. And the theme that he is going to talk about is that As you all know that intra-office speech contest is something which all the Toastmasters want to participate, and this requires a lot of hard work. So he is going to talk about his experience in general, that how he felt while participating in the contest, about his experience of win and losses. So please put your hand together and welcome Pulkit.
When I was invited to MCTC, I was floored by the way you conduct your meetings. Just wanted to call it out. It's an amazingly structured process and something that any club could be inspired by. But moving forward, like Ashish mentioned, the structure of a Toastmasters meeting is generally simply three-pronged. You have the prepared speeches as the first section, where speakers who prepare for a particular topic come out on the stage and deliver on what they have prepared over the last week. It's generally 5 to 7 minutes long. Then comes the table topics, or you might also know it as impromptu speaking. Now, impromptu speaking is a very fun section as it involves both audiences and guests. You're called on stage, given a topic on the spot, and speak between 1 to 2.5 minutes. The third section, which I believe is a very important section of any Toastmasters meeting, is the evaluation section. Because this is where, from my personal point of view, I have the conviction that we improve meeting by the general evaluation. The word of the day, I'm made to understand that as a team order I have to introduce the word of the day. The word of the day, as I can see over here, is fortitude, which implies courage and patience shown when in suffering. When after winning my club, my area, going to division, and sitting there, listening to contest chair Pranav announcing me as the first runner-up or the second prize winner, had to show fortitude. I'll just talk about my journey in a while, but I was madly invested in my journey over the last 2 months, beginning Feb 1823. But that's the part of life, wins and losses. The idiom of the day I think there's no idiom of the day, but yeah. Going forward, so fortitude, and I will encourage each one of you to use the word fortitude in your speeches. Every time you do, we will reward you with a thumbs up. I would like now to introduce the general evaluator for the day today. The general evaluator for our day today is Toastmaster Sonu. And at the outset, I will apologize for not knowing your introduction, Sonu, but I look forward to what you make this station.
My name is Sonu. I'll introduce myself. I am general evaluator for today's meeting. I am a working professional since last 11 years, and I am into finance domain. As of now, I am working as Deputy General Manager in Schneider Electric. This is my brief introduction, and moving on to the meeting, general meeting. First, I would like to ask one question: that why do we come here? Anyone?
To upskill ourselves in the area of communication.
Correct. Piyush?
I think what she said on the same thing, I already increased my presence on the stage and remove my stage fear and improve my communication.
It's for improvement, right? Toastmaster Mohit?
Like for improving our leadership skills, our communication skills, and to do networking
everybody is working towards improvement, not towards the perfection. Because perfection is definitely a moving target. Once you reach at a particular milestone, you feel that I need to do more and more. So as Toastmaster Mohit rightly said that in each meeting we improve by feedback. How do we get the feedback? Somebody should be there to assess where you are performing well and where you need to do something better. So today, as a general evaluator, I will be evaluating the session as a whole from the beginning till the end, and I will be noting down where we are doing something good and where really we need to work upon. To perform this task, I have 3 pillars with me. Pillar number 1, that is timer, and timer role is being played by Toastmaster Piyush. I would request Toastmaster Piyush to come on the stage and explain his role. Help me welcome Toastmaster Piyush.
Hello, my name is Piyush Jain, and today I'm taking the role of timer. So as a timer, I will monitor and record every meeting segment and every speaker, and I'll raise the different cards, indicating to the speaker for how long he is speaking or he or she is speaking. So for prepared speeches, green card will be shown at 6 minutes. Green card will be shown at 5 minutes, yellow card at 6 minutes, and red card at 7 minutes. The speaker shall have 30 seconds to conclude. For table topic, green card will be shown at 1 minute, and yellow card will be shown at 1.5 minutes, and then red card will be shown at 2 minutes. The speaker shall have 30 seconds more to conclude. Then for evaluation, green card will be shown at 2 minutes, yellow card will be shown at 2.5 minutes, and red card will be shown at 3 minutes. The speaker shall have 30 seconds to close. In addition, I shall signal the president, Toastmaster, table topic master, and general evaluator with the red card when they have reached their allotted time. And when called by general evaluator, I shall announce the speaker's name and time taken, and I also mention the member name who are eligible for the voting. Thank you.
The second pillar for today's meeting is grammarian, and the grammarian role is being played by Toastmaster Harjinder. Harjinder could not reach at the venue, so Toastmaster Dipanshu will take that role.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as a grammarian, my job is to be like the English teacher of the class. I will be keeping check of the good use of grammar. I will be keeping check of the areas where we can improve in our grammar, good usage of words. Also, as a grammarian, my job is to keep track of the word of the day, which is 42. So, requesting everyone, whenever you get a chance to come on stage, use this word. This is a very thing that happens in Toastmaster, and it has really helped me personally to improve my vocabulary. So, by using the word of the day again and again, you grow up an arsenal of words which you can regularly use. So, with this, I hand over the stage back to General Evaluator.
The third role pillar is our counter role is being played by Toastmaster Dev. I would request Toastmaster Dev to come forward and explain his role.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dev, and I will be our counter for today. And I will be noting down all the crutch words which you will be using in your speech or in table topic masters. Or I will also note the overused words like and, well, but, so, and I will also note down the filler words like these kind of words I will be noting. And at the end of the meeting, I shall present my report to the general evaluator. Thank you very much.
Without any further delay, I hand over the stage to Toastmaster of the day.
Thanks Toastmaster Sonu for introducing us to the pillars of evaluation today. How many of you love jokes here? I would like to invite any one of you to come on the stage and open the meeting with a joke so that we can all start laughing. Rahul, you're welcome on stage.
I want to hear Rahul.
I just saw it, it's a steam open, sorry for that. Joke master today, Toastmaster Rahul.
A very good morning, everyone. My name is Rahul, and today I am your joke master. So here is the joke. There were several men in the locker room in a gym. Suddenly, on the bench, a phone rang. One of the men went there, picked it up, and started to talk, while all the other men could not resist, and they stopped to listen. Hello? The woman. Hi, honey. It is me. Are you at the gym? Yes, I'm at the gym. What do you want? Great. I'm at this shop right now, and I really like this saree. And this is for 20,000. Is it okay if I buy it? Well, if you like it, you can buy it. Thank you, honey. Well, there is one more thing. I was just talking with Priya, and she said the house we were looking for is up for sale now, and that is for 5 crores. Well, 5 crores? It seems to be a little high. Can you negotiate it for maybe 4 crores? If they want, we can give 50 lakhs more. Sure, honey. I'll do that. See you later. I love you. Okay, bye. I love you too. All the other men were looking at him and were astonished, just like you all. He then turned and asked, does anybody know whose phone is this? Well, I tried my best to sound like a woman, but that was the design. Thank you.
Thanks, Toastmaster Rahul. He has an air about him that the moment he comes on stage, you get cheer. I have known him for 40 months now. Moving forward with our theme for the day. The essence of ISC. Lessons from my win and loss. Bahamas, it's out. That's the first thought that crossed my mind when I was announced as the first runner-up. I was so much invested in the process since Feb 2023. I wasn't thinking of anything less than World Championship. Area? Nah. Division? Nah. District? Nah. Bahamas? Oh yes. So the loss hit me very hard. But these are the learnings I garnered being madly invested in the process for 2 months. International Speech Contest, or as it is also popularly known, the World Championship of Public Speaking, is perhaps the only community event which encompasses non-profit organizations that allow you to compete at the world level. Toastmasters is the only NGO that allows you to compete at the global stage. And it begins with a club level contest at ISC, goes to area, division, district, regional quarterfinals, and finally culminates in semi-finals and the finals. The first learning I had when I started on this journey was how to write my speech. When I first wrote my speech, and there were 5 major learnings from my speech writing process. The first was write your speech in poetic style. When I first wrote my speech, it was all paragraphs. Paragraphs on paragraphs on paragraphs. And that's great if you're publishing it in a magazine, but if you are writing a speech to be delivered, you wish to know when to pause, where to pause. You need to remember the entire speech structure. And if you break your speech in the poetic sense, it's a great way to remember what to say. For example, previously I had what you just witnessed was a regular day of fighting between a brother and I. Then I broke it to what you just witnessed. Enter, space, was a regular day of fighting, break between my brother and I. The entire speech was broken into maximum 4 to 5 words per line. That's a poetic sense of writing, and that's a great tool to understand where to pause. The second section of my writing involved cut on the use of syllables. Syllables, is anyone aware what a syllable? Yeah, she.
No, I heard of it, but I am not able to recall what exactly.
Go.
Part of the speech.
It's the sound of speech. So if I say shocked, that's one sound. If I say bewildered, that's 2 sounds. 3 sounds in fact. Bewildered.
3 syllables.
A great speech has very, very carefully curated list of syllables. The less, the better. So previously, let's say I started my speech with, the enemy looks bewildered and he will respond with a punch. I changed it to, the enemy looks shocked and he responds with a punch. Now if you say bewildered, 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 you will get that. But if you say shocked, 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 you won't get that time. When you're writing a speech, cut down on syllables because you are going to practice the speech numerous number of times. 10 times. Presian Vasiliev, the 2013 world champion, practiced his speech 55 times in 55 clubs before being crowned as a champion. You need the speech to be very budgeted in terms of syllables you use. Now syllables are simple sounds. So if you just count the number of sounds in your sentence and ensure it's always 1 sound or 1.5 sound per word, you will never get tired practicing your own speech. The third lesson I learned from my own speech was the importance of the word you. The word you is the most intimate word in the entire English vocabulary. When I say you and I are not very different from this flower, even though I have 20 amazing faces, 20 plus amazing faces looking at me, each listener is under the impression they are being talked to directly. Use the word you as very sparingly, but ensure you use that. If I ask, have you had breakfast?
Yes.
Thank you. So much it makes the audience feel they are being talked to directly, and even if it's a 2,000 plus audience at a world level, the word you will make them feel that. The fourth learning from my speech was use principle of recency. Principle of recency simply states the audiences remembers the last thing spoken. This is the reason all world champion speeches end with the core message, because you want the audience to remember what you just last said. For instance, I had a section in my own speech where I talk about how I wanted to approach my father when he was in the hospital, on which I didn't know at that time would be the last time I was seeing him. But I had this line that I wanted to walk over to him, but I walked away. In the original speech, the line went like, I wanted to walk over to him, but I walked away because I thought I'm not loved. I got a feedback that the primary core hitting point of this line is that you walk away. You want the audience to remember that. I cut down on the last line because I thought I'm not loved, but that's an opinion, a personal opinion. You want your speech to be written in a way that your primary message is at the end of crucial sentences, because audiences remember what you say last. So just to summarize what we just went through was the syllables, the word you, recency. Then comes the section of the body. You have written a great speech. You have used less syllables. You have used the word you. And a great speech also has three very crucial elements. It has three components. The first component is the statements. Statements like, I went to Bahamas and I saw a beautiful place. That's a statement. The second component of a speech is interaction. When I interact and I say, have you ever heard Toastmasters before? That's interaction. The third component of a speech is dialogue. When you make the audience feel like just Rahul just did, you talk on phone, you enact a scene, dialogue. Ensure a speech has all the three components: dialogue, interaction, and statements. And to make it easy for you, let's say mark the dialogue as red, interaction as blue, and rest as statements. You want your speech to be divided into three sections judiciously. But that's the speech part. You might ask, okay, I know how to write a good speech now. I will use the word you, I will use less syllables, I will divide it into three sections, I will use principle of recency. What's next? The next is what to write about. Always choose a topic that's your personal story. That makes the job easy for you to emote on the stage, because when you remember a personal event, you laugh or you smile, you become sad. And you don't have to remember it that much. Write on a personal story because the world needs to listen to your stories. And World Championship speeches from 1987, more than 95% of them were actual personal stories. Less than 5% of them were based on opinions and facts. People do not like opinions. They love stories. The third section is the delivery of speech. One delivery the biggest advice I would like to give is use the punching method. The punching method is you make the audience go on a high, on a high, on a high, you make them laugh, and you bring them down. Because when you bring them down and deliver your punch, your message, it sticks with them. Christian Vassilev in his 2013 winning speech, Chased by a Tire, he was in a section of speech where the audience was laughing wildly. And wildly, he was making the audience laugh, the audience was having fun. And then he lowered his voice. And hits the audience, and it stays with them. He used to punch in your, and in my speech I tried to recreate it. I was in my section, my speech was a sinusoidal wave. I started with a huge bang, I take him down. Again take him up on a personal, lively story, and again take him down with a story about my personal learnings from my father's passing away. Then I bring them to a high and I realized the power of love. And I end there. That's a sinusoidal wave which I try to recreate in my story, and that's a good technique to use in your delivery. The end and the start of a speech when it comes to delivery. If you see all the ends and starts, they are always unique across all the winning speeches. Some people use props, like 2001 world champion Daniel Lacroix actually fell on the stage. That's drama. 2005 world champion Lance Miller, he shouted his message. That's iteration. 2014 world champion Dhananjay Hitarachi began with a flower. That's prop. 2015 world champion actually began with lighting his cigarette. He didn't light that down, he would have been disqualified. But he got a cigarette out, started to light. The essence is use drama or props or shout. But shouting is a little dangerous because when your speech starts, the audience is on a very low frequency. The moment you shout, it might just make people say, what the hell? So use it sparingly. The end of a great speech, the third element of delivery. All endings have one thing in common. They end on the speaker's core message. Now you can do this in three ways. Either you again shout your message at the end, like Daniel Lacroix, whose idea was falling is not bad in life, or failing is not bad in life, ended with, my message to you is, fall forward. End. Or end with a prop, that's circling. For example, Mohaz Qatani, in 2015 speech, he began with a cigarette and ended with the cigarette. That's circling. That's a great way to end as well. The third is you make your audience say your core message. Manoj Vasudevan, in his 2017 speech, the idea was pull less, bend more, a story about life and love. He made the audience say pull less and bend more. That's the third great way to make the audience say your message, and that makes it stick with them. A bonus way to end a speech is call to action. You say something like 2019 Aaron W. Beverly, his speech was about tolerance. And he gave the audience a mission. This is your mission, should you choose to accept. The mission was tolerance. The fourth bonus way is call to action, but focus on the audience outcome here. You want the audience to know your message 20, 30, 50 months after speech has delivered, and that's the hallmark of great speech. The speech, the delivery, and the fourth I will end in the next 2 minutes is my lessons. Like I said, I was madly invested in the process. So what loss taught me was like the famous Indian Hindi idiom, Raat Din Baat Gayi. If it's that night it's over, you get in the morning, you get on with your life. That's the first thing I would like to say. In the contest, you cannot control everything. Give your best, but in the face of loss, be sad for a few hours and move on. The second thing I learned, again from Vasudevan, is not everything is under your control, and that's a very crucial learning. I will end with this anecdote from Manoj Vasudevan's book, How to Be the World Champion of Public Speaking. In 2000, for the uninitiated, Manoj Vasudevan is the 2017 World Champion, and he competed 4 times before being competed over a period of 7 years before being competed as WCPS. In 2013, in his third crucial attempt at the title, He was in USA. It was the semi-championship, the semi-finals of WCPS. He was so invested in the process. The contest was on August 15, 2013. He went to US in July 2013 and was traveling across the country delivering speeches. Everyone was saying, it's amazing, you're going to win, you are the champ, and he was happy. Then came the semi-finals, and on that day, the staff of the day forgot to turn his mic on. He went on stage in front of 1,000+ people. The mic was off. He lost. A mistake from the sergeant at arms that day cost him that world championship that night. I will end with this. Prepare your best, but never intense on results. Thank you. I would like to now open up. I would now like to open up the next section of the meeting, the prepared speeches. And our first evaluator for the day is Toastmaster Gaurav, evaluating Toastmaster Siddharth's speech. You reverse card. Toastmaster Siddharth, evaluating Toastmaster Gaurav's speech. I would just like to read out an introduction of Toastmaster Siddharth, evaluator number 1. He has been a Toastmaster since August 2019 and by education is Diploma in Electronics and Telecommunication. Currently, Siddharth works as a Senior Design Engineer in Stryker India. May I invite Toastmaster Siddharth onto the stage.
Role reversal happened.
No, Toastmaster Siddharth is the evaluator, right?
Yeah, I'm the evaluator.
Okay,
So
so
Gaurav-
Siddharth, please come on stage to say a few words about Toastmaster Gaurav's speech.
Okay. So Toastmaster Gaurav is delivering his 1.4. Yeah. Level 1 and speech number 4 from the Pathway Presentation Mastery. The time is 5 to 7 minutes and the speech title is Crown the Mind Palace. What is speech attractive? Actually, I didn't get your evaluation sheet.
What is the objective?
Please share if you have. Is feedback something? You did receive feedback.
Now the title is Crown.
Crown the Mind Palace. Incorporating. So whatever is feedback he received in his last speech, so he has to incorporate in his today's speech. So wish you all the best. Please come on the stage. And
Absolutely, thanks, Siddharth. Speaker number 1, Toastmaster Gaurav. Toastmaster Gaurav, speaker number 1. For it. Thank you.
Memory is a inventory and guardian of all things. Said by Marcus Aurelius, a great Greek philosopher of his times. Namaste, fellow Toastmasters and amazing guests. Today, I will be talking about how memory helps us fall on the stage when it comes to giving speeches. Memory is really crucial when it comes to giving speeches, presentations at work, or in our daily lives. Have you ever come on stage and forgotten your part or complete speech? Have you gone blank on the stage? Has it ever happened with any of you? Yes. It's a very daunting experience. You come on the stage with all the rehearsal you have done in the background 55 times, 70 times, and you go blank looking at the audience. Poor memory can be a challenge when delivering speeches. stress, anxiety, lack of sleep, poor nutrition are some of the common factors which contributes to poor memory. Why does this happen? Our brains are wired in different manner. We come on the stage and we totally go blank. It is just because we don't recall. I think Pulkit was talking about this speech today, that you need to put a personal story so you don't forget about the speech. That's the best way of giving any speech. But what is the solution around it? If you want to give something which has facts, which has objects, objectivity, what is the solution of giving a right speech which doesn't have the person's story? So the solution is called the mind palace technique. Our brains are wired to remember visual information more than all the verbal text. People forget about remembering long paragraphs, but we all know how YouTube and TikToks are running the world. It is just because it's all video based, it's all images, it's all visual. I learned about mind palace technique the very first day I joined Toastmasters. I was told to give a speech the next week, and I was trembling, I was nervous, I was anxious. How will I remember so many lines of giving a speech coming on the stage? And suddenly I stumbled upon mind palace technique. So in mind palace technique, what you do is, like this room, you take a familiar room into your mind, you make a mental map of it. It has 4 corners, 1, 2, 3, 4. You divide your speech into 4 parts, like today I did. Today, Toastmaster Pulkit, when he came on the stage, I was imagining him as Marcus Tullius Cicero. So when I shook hands with him, I recalled memory is treasury and guardian of all things. So it's a trick which you can do with your mind to recall things. Corner number 2 was my question to all of you. Have you ever forgotten your speech? I visualize a person sitting here, scratching his head and thinking, on this line, I'm going blank, what happened? So you need to play trick with your mind if you want to recall things. The third is, I imagined a book right in the corner of Simon Sinek, Start with Why. And then I questioned all of you that, why does this happen? Why we forget things? So in a similar manner, I have imagined each section of this room today to recall my speech. And you all can do it. To trick your mind to remember, and to come here, you don't go blank, you don't stumble, you don't tremble on the stage. That's a very big act. Imagine you need to remember a simple list of grocery items: apple, milk, bread, and eggs. Instead of learning it by the name of it, just go to your kitchen, mental kitchen. We all have kitchen in our room. We all know where is the fridge, where is the counter, where is the table, where are other stuff. So just go to your mental kitchen and put each item in your kitchen. For example, for this speech, I have put the basket of apples in the counter, the glass of milk in my fridge, the eggs, the carton of eggs in the pantry, and so with the loaf of bread on my table in the kitchen. So when I go and recall these things, I just need to go mentally into my kitchen, and just periodically I can remember all my grocery items. It will definitely help you to deliver better at the stage. And let me tell you one funny incident. I was using this mind palace technique at my work, and I forgot to update the mental image of the room. So I had a mental image of the room, but the room inside got renovated, and I was standing outside before delivering the speech and my presentation. So when I entered the room, I went blank. It was a bit embarrassing, but what I learned during that exercise, that I have to stay current and flexible whenever delivering speeches and using such techniques. In conclusion,
by using the Mind Palace technique, we can boost our confidence and deliver an impactful speech, a memorable speech, like I did during the icebreaker speech, where I gave the speech around Dar Ke Aage Jeet Hai, which was unforgettable, memorable for me, because I divided each section into different parts and was able to deliver. So I request you all, whenever next time you all are going to come here and deliver your speech, just take few moments out of your time and break your speech into different parts. Add vivid images to each of the story and just imagine things. It will definitely help you to deliver more impactful speech to the hearer. And remember, as Cicero said, memory is the treasury and guardian of all things. So let's take a step forward and embrace the power of memory to deliver knowledge and share information with the world. Thank you.
Thanks, Gaurav.
Feedback. It has been sent. 1 minute speech and 1 minute silence.
We'll be observing a minute of silence for feedback.
Link has been saved.
Link has been shared across to all the stakeholders here.
Even guest can give the feedback, taking help of the
So that's the end of the minute of evaluation. Just like to say one thing over here, that's a great practice at MCTC, because the speeches are fresh in the minds of the listener in the first minute, and many clubs actually do it their last. So great practice there, and I would like to commend the president for having this process in place. The speaker you just listened, Gaurav, lives in Gurgaon and with his wife and 5-year-old daughter, and he works in a company called Securitas as a bid manager, which provides security services across the globe. At Toastmasters, you have people from very walks of life, and thanks Gaurav for making us reminiscence and visualize the very important technique, the Mind Palace method. It's one of the techniques that we can use to remember the speeches and certain items for a long time. Moving forward to our speaker number 2, is Toastmaster Abhishek, who will be evaluated by Toastmasters. Surinder? Yes. Yeah. So you are yeah. I will use the Mind Palace technique to remember who's the evaluator, speakers, and future meetings. Toastmaster Surinder, I would like to invite him on. He's actually a friend and someone I have known for a few months now. He has been an entrepreneur in his past interval and currently works in an MNC in the strategy section. I would like to invite the evaluator for speaker number 2, Abhishek, Toastmaster Surinder.
Today I am the evaluator Toastmaster Abhishek delivering his speech level 1 project report. I am just explaining about these levels and pathways, what are the things for the guest. So in the Toastmasters we have the pathways where we can include one pathway, and we have learned, and in every pathway we have 5 levels, and in every level there are 3 to 4 projects. Projects means we have to deliver speech in 5 to 7 minutes in that section. So today Toastmaster Abhishek is delivering his 4th speech of the level 1. His pathway is presentation mastery. The objective of this pathway is to, as the Gaurav speech was the objective, the same objective it was, to interpret the feedback that already delivered speech and to improve them. And time was, please no, timer will not, time will be 5 to 7 minutes for that. Speech title is, what do you want not,
What do you want to become in your future?
yes, what do you want to be in the future? I am welcoming Toastmaster Abhishek for that and wish him luck.
What do you want to be in the future? Toastmaster Abhishek. Toastmaster Abhishek, what do you want to be in the future?
Thank you. Good morning all. Everybody who is sitting in this room have think one time in his life what he wants to become in the near future, in the 10 to 15 years down the future. And such similar questions keep coming in my mind whenever I was free. So let me take a pause and ask you what you want to become in the near future, in the 10 to 15 years down the road. Anyone? Yeah.
I want to become an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur. I'm with you. That's the question. Yeah. Public speaker. Anyone can have the
Engineering
leaders. Engineering leaders. That's something different. Becoming an engineer leader. Yeah.
I want to compete with Mulkini for a speech.
That was just a minute. So, back 15 to 18 years, back in my childhood, when I was a child, I do have a dream of becoming something just like all other child have. And we all witness during the school time, like the class teacher, relative used to ask you, like what you want to become in the future. We used to ask, we used to tell them, yes, I want to become a pilot, doctor, teacher, IAS officer, and so on. And my dream was something similar, like all other child did. That I was looking forward to become a big corporate businessman, having a multiple companies. And that dream has come from the movie that we watched in the childhood, like Gajini. Like, there is the early part of the movie, the first half, when we saw a big corporate person moving out of the car, having 4 cars walking with you, and when getting out of the car, you are just thinking of one of the big company, having 4 people walking with your side and giving the update of the company, what is going on, what is the future plan, how the growth of company X, Y, Z, and how is it going on. So that moment inspired me the most to become something like a big corporate where having 10 people working with you and having big company and big car to go get in and going to the big lecture hall and delivering a lecture about your company and the vision of your company. So that inspired me the most. But when you grow with the time, you find out that your dream start getting fade off. When you what you think at the class 5, what you have a dream, when you compare your dream with the class 10, and you are comparing with the dream when you are standing at the age of 30, you find out your dream has started getting changed. You have also witnessed that change in your dream. When you are comparing your dream at class 5 or class 10 when you are 30. Can somebody share that incident, that what you was dreaming at in your childhood and what you are dreaming at the age of 30? But there was a whole change has come on or not. Someone can say that incident. Anyone? Like what was, yeah.
I wanted to be an astronaut, Abhishek. When I was very age, right now I'm software engineer.
I also want to be an astronaut. That's the reason I joined it. But I'm doing this.
Okay, cool. Anyone other? Yeah. It's still good.
When I
Anyone?
was at 12, I want to be a dancer.
Dancer.
Because I was doing so many dancing competitions in the TV, so I want to be a dancer. And with time, my interest has been changed.
Oh, cool. That's interesting. Yes, yes. Anyone? Businessman. So, let me tell you that changing of the dream has its own beautiness. Giving one example of taking the Abdul Kalam, APJ Abdul Kalam. He was looking forward to become an aeronautics engineer, a pilot, a fighter pilot. But with the time, his dreams start getting changed over, and he become one of the renowned scientists of the country, and then the president of the country. And it is because he keep working hard and having new opportunity. Same goes to the Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg. He was looking forward to become a big software engineer. We have thousands of the software engineers in our country, but he became a good entrepreneur. And now we have witnessed one of the breakthrough he has done, that is Facebook. Coming to the Bollywood, we have come across Akshay Kumar. He wants to become a martial artist in his childhood days, and he went to the Bangkok for that. But later on, he find out new opportunity coming in the Bollywood, and he grabbed that and become one of the big Bollywood star actor. And I am telling this to make you understand that always chasing the dream is not the future. You have to understand that there is a new opportunity that is coming on your way. That you have to grab that than chasing your dream. Because you miss that verse, that is just passing from your sideways. And I also pointing out, because I have witnessed some of my friends who was chasing for becoming an IAS officer. And he has worked hard and give their best effort and time to do that. But the aim is not the same. What you always expected and look forward in your childhood and in your dream when you was class 5 or when you was an engineering class. You always have to keep working hard and keep looking for a new opportunity. You have to keep hustling in yourself so that you can take a 180-degree turnaround and you can achieve more than what is your main objective of your life. But at the same time, we should at least try one time in our life what we have dreamed of, because it gives you immense satisfaction. Because yes, I have tried, I have my reminder that I have once to that dream, and that satisfaction will give you more confidence. And also at the same time, when you look back, you also feel a happiness to your heart that is, yes, although it has been not done, but I given my best. So that is my all for the day.
Thanks to Master Abhishek. We will be observing a minute of silence for the guests to mark their. The speaker you just heard, Abhishek, Toastmaster Abhishek, is a product manager working at Policy Bazaar and is a BTech in electrical engineering. And as his hobby, he loves spending time with his family. It takes a lot of fortitude to reach your dreams. And thanks, Abhishek, for making us reminiscence our dreams when we were young. I would like to now open up the section called Table Topics, and would like to encourage members and guests who participate actively in this section. The Table Topics Master for today is Toastmaster Ankit, and I would like to welcome him on stage.
Hello everyone. The table topic session is, or I should say, impromptu speaking. It's very important to get comfortable on stage. Now, by being comfortable on the stage, I mean you are quite confident as well as relaxed in front of, unknown or known group of people. However, speaking on some type of topic is relatively difficult in comparison of speaking some other type of topic. For instance, if we are speaking on a funny topic, then it is a little bit difficult. If we are speaking just on a core or a thoughtful question, then that is a little bit easier, on the easier side. So today I'll be giving topics on 3 types. The first type is funny type, the second is thoughtful question, and the third type is quotes. And you can choose the topic according to means your preference, because if you are really good at speaking, then you might be able to choose funny topic. If you are okay at it, then you can choose thoughtful question or a quote. So it is up to you. And I am having 5 topics on each type, and it is available on a first come first serve basis. For funny type we are having 5 marks, for thoughtful questions 3 marks, for quote we are having 2 marks, and a winner will get a special prize at the end of this session. So, are you able to understand this whole thing? Because I think I told a lot of information. So, who wants to come first? I want a new member to come. You are very experienced already. Why don't we ask yes? Okay, I'll choose. Okay, so then
Not taking any role. Any experience to smart, not taking any role.
yeah, who have not taken any role? I'm very sorry, Surinder. Yeah, Dev, you can come. Dev. Harsh, you can. Pranav, you want? You want to speak on a thoughtful question or a funny do you have a role model, any living or dead role model? You can talk about it.
Can you again repeat?
Any role model, living or dead role model, and you can speak about it. Like Virat Kohli, anyone that you embody. What is your favorite quote and how does it inspire you?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My favorite quote is never give up. When I was in class 12 and after giving the board exam of my class 12, there was a time of after 2-3 months when there is no work, no studies, and obviously a very leisure time to enjoy. So when I was in class 12, my weight is very less, and I was slim, and I decided to go to the gym. And my trainer suggested me to take the gainer, and I said that no, my family does not allow to take a gainer or supplements ever. So he said to me that it was a difficult task to
wants to come next? You want to? Yeah.
I hope there are no negative marking if you get the funny to be something thoughtful.
So, and for the funny topic, for benefit of everyone, for the funny topic, you have to agree with the topic, right?
Hey, that's shackling me. That's shackling me down.
You cannot disagree, otherwise you will be disqualified. Because it is for 5 marks, right?
That is very harsh.
And you have to convince people on that topic, right?
Why don't you give a speech in place of me?
So the topic is, I want to be broke, liar, and totally useless person in my life. You have to speak in favor of it.
You want to be liar?
You understood the topic, right?
No, not.
So you have to speak in favor. I want to be a broke, liar, and a totally useless person in my life.
I want to be a broke, a liar, and a totally useless person in my life. Ask Dipanshu how many times I call him. One useless to the other. See how that turns out. Every Sunday I call him in the morning, hey, let's go for a football game. He says, man, it's 5 in the morning. Are you crazy? I said, no, but you are, because you called me at 9 at night and you told me we'll be going in the morning. And that's how he recants his word. He says, no, let's meet at NCDC only. But that day, we went. Some losers played a game of football that made that game a very, not an insightful, but a lawful game as well. Next moment, broke. During my school days, the journey was such that we didn't have any money into our pockets. All we could manage during those times was vada pav in the K-Line college. From one broke to another. Thoda sa dhar milega. That was the goal. The third aspect was liar. Oh my word. I think that signifies what I am today. From people who know me better, they know that more than talking about the truth, the facts, I talk about facts which are not really facts. I make them on my own. And you can catch me right on the instance when I'm delivering a speech. I'll say like India's admin in the world index, in the index of world journal is 14th. But truly, it's nowhere near 14th, it's 114th. But you need to understand that I have to have that impact. For the speech, I need to make sure that people are engrossed in my speech. And for that, lying is the tool that comes in handy. It takes your speech from good to great. So I encourage you all to lie, to be broke, and to be the loser that you are in the world. Thank you.
So wonderful speech by Toastmaster. Now who wants to come next? Okay. What is your favorite childhood memory and why is it so special?
So, talking about my childhood memory, I think I even mentioned it during my icebreaker speech, that it was a day when it was a rainy day and there was no buses and I was thinking of not going to school and my mother said, okay, you can take a day off today. But my father said, no, you have to go to school and you have to show up that. And I was in second standard. He drove me home in an auto rickshaw and I showed up in the school that day. But that day in my life bring a lesson to me that consistency even in the day when there is a rain, weather is not in your favor, but even in that day you show up to the location that you are planning to go, then like you don't have any kind of reason to say no. No matter what the condition is, if you have to show up somewhere, you have to reach to that place. So this is the lesson that I learned from that simple moment of my childhood. And so this is something a day as per my topic
speech by Toastmaster Anurag. Who wants to come next? Okay, guest. Funny, thoughtful question or a That's yeah, that's why we called you a guest. Right?
Yeah.
So, if you could switch careers with someone for a day, who would it be and why?
Hello friends, this is my first time on stage. Okay. So, I would like to switch my place. Being a homemaker, I like to switch my place with my husband. And he always do the same medicine. Basically, I cook well. Everybody knows that. And his work, I know I can't do, but I can manage his boss, that's for sure. And getting to tour everywhere in the world, what more do you want? Well, again, he's going to Kathmandu on Monday. I like that. I know he's working very hard. And under his training, I know I will learn everything from him. He's a very good teacher and fantastic person to be with. But I'm going to show him the other side also. That you have to get up at 5, you have to do all the chores, and don't criticize. That's all. He's the best teacher, and he gets to travel everywhere.
Not only we also want to switch jobs.
Seriously. I'll be in a place which is not good and I'd rather go somewhere out of the house.
What is your name? Sorry, I'm sorry. What is your name? I forgot to ask.
So, Nidhi Gupta.
Nidhi Gupta.
So you can also participate.
Yeah, you should actually. Because it's my first time on stage and you can see how nervous I am. I'm one of those class में भी ना first bench पे बैठी थी सिर्फ ऊपर नीचे. I never spoke in the class.
Okay.
So it's totally for me like.
You did
okay.
well.
It was wonderful. You should have taken funny speech.
Actually, sir, this is one thing my friends always say. You can make a crying person laugh. Like in every party, they make sure कि आज आप 5 मिनट आप माहौल चेंज करके चले जाएं. That's something is it.
Okay. You want to come next? Which topic you want to take? Thoughtful question. So, I'm running out of thoughtful questions. You can take a quote if you want. So, do good and good will come to you. Do good and good will come to you.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Kushi, and of course my topic is do good and good will come to you. Now there are various instances that you might see that you might do something good in your life and you will be paid back, okay? But sometimes you don't always seek goodness when we do something. For a small example that I might give you is in school. Although I have not experienced that much in my life, I've just been in school studying all the time. But in school, when you help someone, even if it's a small help, giving you them your notebook, or allowing them to copy your notes, for example, or your homework, which many people don't do in class. Okay, I'm the only one who's probably done it. So if you give them your notebook, then maybe later on in life, in your higher standard, for example, 12, when you probably want to go out with your friends, but then your parents are not allowing you to go out, because science student, you have to study all the time in order to get good marks. So you can, try, they can help you convince your parents, give points to, she's such a very good student, she's studying all the time, and she always helps us, she's one of the best, brilliant students in class. Even if it's a lie, it doesn't really matter, but they're helping you. So, do good and good will come to you. Thank you.
What a wonderful speech. Who wants to come next? Yeah. What is your name? Varun. Varun. I'm sorry. So, you want to take a funny topic, a thoughtful question, or a
Got some girls asking that.
Believe you can and you are halfway there. Believe you can and you are halfway there. Believe you can and you are halfway there. You want a different topic? I didn't get it. Okay. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Okay, this topic, hope for the best and prepare for the worst, it actually, this is the biggest study of life. So, life, you can't go along without preparation. So, you have to prepare for the best, you have to try for the best, and if you are not, you are likely to stumble upon. So, be ready to face anything. Be ready to conquer the world, and kind of, don't be unprepared like I am today. So, prepare for the best. Because if you don't prepare, you don't show up, you don't learn anything. Okay, if you don't learn, you can't be prepared. So it's a circle. That's all I could think of.
Wonderful speech. Who wants to come next? Dia, you want to come? Sorry.
We had thoughtful words.
Okay, so Dia should come now. I am a table topic master, I could choose it. So which topic you want
But easy one,
To be the best, you have to beat the best. Is it fine? To be the best, you have to beat the best.
Okay, so to be the best, you have to beat the best, and this is something we have been learning since the very beginning of our school life. It's never enough. Suppose I scored a 19 out of 20, but there are still people who are scoring a 20 out of 20. So, although now I have worked hard enough, I have scored 19, but that's not enough. You need a 20 out of 20, and I think the competition is not with other people. I believe you need to compete with yourself. Each and every one of us has to compete with our previous selves and be better the following weeks and years and future to come. So yeah, to be.
1 minute is not over.
Speak about it. Story.
I just told a story.
You're doing wonderful.
Yeah, 1 minute is over now.
Wonderful speech by Toastmaster Dia. Anyone who likes to come next? Chirag to Aini.
Someone experienced
So, guest, you can come. You can come. Yes. Be prioritized. Nice choice. So, the purpose of our life is to be happy. The purpose of our life is to be happy.
Yeah, so of course, why should we be sad because of others doing the shits in our life? So of course, we have to be happy. We have to do things that make us happy. I have been in a thing like, excuse me, I'm sorry.
What is your name? Malika. Malika. Ayush, you want to come?
Yes.
Don't find out what it is.
You are enough just as you are.
Again, repeat.
You are enough just as you are.
Just as you are. So for our parents, we are enough just as we are. But in life, we keep on changing because we are not satisfied with ourselves. So like many of us, we want to improve, we want to grow in our lives. So it's not enough just as we are. For example, I have stage fright, as you can very well observe. So, but I have been avoiding coming here. But when I come here, I realize that I have improved a little because I acknowledge the fact that I am not. My current level is not enough. So I keep on. So being enough is not. Being same is not enough for me. So I'll keep on trying to become better.
So I'm very happy today that a lot of new faces came on the stage today, and that's something which I wanted. So I think Pranav is winner for today. He is having 5 marks. So can you please come on the stage?
Acceptance is low.
You just have to stand here. Don't go anywhere. Okay. So all of you, please stand up. I want you to stand up. So just raise your hands and say,
"We are the loser. We are." Let's track this word into abyss.
You just stand silent. Say, "Ja pala to koi kabul karo."
Not like this. I don't accept this. Turn around, everyone.
So,
Thank you.
I just wanted to add a little bit of fun element. This is how easy So that's it for table topic today. And over to you, Toastmaster of the day, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thanks, Toastmaster Ankit. It's one of those table topic sessions where you wish you were a role player. Because I wanted to see what more funny topics were there after listening to I'm a loser, I'm useless, and I'm a liar. And I would like to commend for each of our speakers for actually turning every speech into a laugh riot here. And thanks, Toastmaster Piyush, for a heartfelt speech on what it means to improve day by day in Toastmasters. I would just like, since we are about to open up the general evaluation section, I would like to give a nugget on what might be a great way to get your speeches evaluated in the ISC week. So Presian Vasilov, the 2013 world champion, he's also a person I am being mentored by. He mentioned about 5 elements of a great feedback. The first question after you give your speech is, what was my speech message? The second question is, what were some great things about my speech? The third question to ask is, what weren't so great about my speech and how can I improve? fourth question is, were there any unanswered questions in my story, in my speech? The fifth and the most important question is, how did you feel at the end of my speech? Message is important because if you ask 10 people and 10 people elaborate your message in 10 different ways, you need to rework your speech. If you ask 10 people and out of those 10, very few feel inspired at the end of your speech, you need to rework your speech. If you ask 10 people and 10 people have many unanswered questions in the speech, you need to rework your speech. Because if you're in a speech, you have an unanswered question, audience will keep on thinking about the unanswered question. हुआ क्या था यार? बताया क्यों? They won't focus on your speech. The 5 questions, again, iterated. What is the message of my speech? What did you like about my speech? What didn't you like about my speech and how can I improve it? Were there any unanswered questions in my speech? And the 5th, how did you feel at the end of my speech? With this, I would like to open up the section called General Evaluation and welcome on the General E for Day, Toastmaster Sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. As I initially mentioned that the goal is not to be perfect, to improve, means to be better version of oneself, what we were yesterday and what we are today. With the same, everybody is coming to this Toastmasters meeting. So for today's, we had 2 speakers, Toastmaster Gaurav and Toastmaster Abhishek. To evaluate Toastmaster Gaurav's speech, we have Toastmaster Siddharth as evaluator. I would request Toastmaster Siddharth to come on the stage and give his evaluation.
Crown the mind palace. Great speech about image and memory completion, and with the help of that we can collect more information. When my speaker was giving a speech, so I was just thinking that I am imagining a story of investigation scene, like Sherlock Holmes. Like Sherlock Holmes' interest, things were scattered, that means fight happened. The person was sipping cup of tea, that means he was familiar. And there is lipstick, that means the lady, that is, the killer is lady. That kind of things were there. I was just imagining that. So, great speech, Toastmaster Gaurav. There are a lot of things, good things in your speeches, but first we talk about the feedback. Last time my speaker received feedback about open body language and use of staring movement. So he used the full staring movement and body language was completely open. When he was talking about shivering, his hands were shivering, he used just like that. And another good point, being in present. Usually we get a lot of tension when we need to give our speech. But he took example, reference from Toastmaster of the Day's speech. Something about speech. It was something about content from start of the speech and end of the speech, how should it should be good. That shows that he was present before the speech also. So these 2 things were amazing. And few things I have collected that can make the speaker's speech better. The first thing is personal story. He used very less personal story. He just said that he put something basket in the kitchen and entered and he was playing. So want some more story, some more detailed story about it. The first thing. And second thing, he started his speech, speaker started his speech from this point. Usually we always, before, you should always start from this point how we can get more attention from the audience. So with this, speech was amazing. Just use little bit more personal stories and start with good points or quotes. So try to be little more louder. So with this, you can make your speech better. So with this, I'm going to hand over the stage to our gentleman.
Now, I would like to welcome Toastmaster Surinder, who is evaluating Toastmaster Abhishek's speech.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. First of all, I congratulate Toastmaster Abhishek, because I am listening since last few months. I saw great growth, significantly growth in his speeches. I really appreciate his efforts. Today, the good points in his speech was one thing. The first thing was the topic. Topic was very simple and very meaningful. When he announced his topic and just started, I just went over my school days. And in every school, there was a lecture and the teacher asked you, what do you become in future? This is a very common question, very easy question. And I hope everyone relate with this thing. Though I am giving 100 points on that topic, it is very simple. And it started with very good things. And other good point with it is engaging. Not just Abhishek is not just engaged with the audience on the opening. He engaged in between. And second questions. What do you become to in future during childhood? But now, what do you become to now? Because we have to become in future is always a moving target. Great message on that. And then engaging is a good part of that. A strange moment was a good things that I believe Toastmaster Abhishek can be a more effective speaker. Just have to work on the pace. Because if you just speaking on one pace, you are just moving a single line. Even single line is meaning of a line over that. So if you have to speak a little bit loud. Pace, a different thing. I am coming on the voice modulation is also the part. Pace is just have to we have to knew about. We have to pause. Like when you ask the questions, you have to give them time for the responses, and you have time to audience. Any day we are getting any responses or more. This type of things comes in a pace. And the second part was the voice modulation. Voice modulation is another good part when you are talking about in speeches. I want to be calm, then you have to be a little bit loud. Or if you want to something that is a very emotional professional, you can be a very soft on that topic. This type of things we can incorporate speeches. Overall, I am concluding the evaluation with this that you did a lot of good things and you improved a lot. And I wish I saw more speeches from your side. You did a good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Surinder. Now it's time to listen from the tag-road players. I would like to invite Toastmaster Dipanshu to tell us about his grammarian report. Help me welcome Toastmaster.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever heard someone say that this person has a great command over language, or this person has a prolific language skills? Have you heard someone say that?
Yes.
So what makes people say that? What is the quality of the speaker that makes someone with great language skills? In my opinion, I feel the person with great language skills is someone who is able to express themselves with the fewest words possible. For example, today, Toastmaster Pulkit, he used essence of ISC. He could have used the benefits of ISC. He used essence of ISC. He used bewildered. He could have used I was frightened. So using less words really shows that person has great language skills. He used essence. He used all mark of great speech. Toastmaster Gaurav used daunting task, which I really like. To demonstrate how a task is. Reminiscence, someone used stage fright. So these are really good usage. Some ways that we could have improved was someone used you made your audience. I think a better use should be you influenced, you inspired your audience. Someone used he was so good, someone was remarkable, excellent. Someone used is delivering a speech. I think a better way would be to present his speech or is going to deliver. Put a personal story, add a personal story, add a personal anecdote. Someone used the speech, objective of the speech. So short form would be speech objective is someone used getting out of the car, exiting, dropping off. So the whole essence, what I have observed throughout the meeting in the form of grammar is that if you want to improve your grammar, try learning the adjectives, synonyms of the words. For example, a lot of people use very good. Could have used excellent, remarkable. That way, our language skills also improve and also adds into our arsenals of vocabulary. So this is my recommendation. Over to you, Chandra. Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite Toastmaster Dev for his report as an accountant. Help me welcome Toastmaster Dev.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, I have noticed all the words and pauses in the repeated words which you have used in all of your speeches. So, starting with Toastmaster Pulkit, he used such sound words 6 times, and then Toastmaster Sonu, she used 2 times. Piyush, he used sound word 2 times. Dipanshu, he words sound word 3 times, and so 1 time. Gaurav, he used sound word 5 times. Abhishek, he used 2 times, so 1 times, and 8 times, and 3 times. Siddharth, he used 4 times. Surinder, he used 8 times, so 4 times. Ankit, he used 6 times, so 3 times, and 5 times. Harsh, he used 9 times, so 1 times. Varun, he used 3 times, so 2 times. Anurag, he used 5 times, so 2 times, and 4 times. Ayush, he used 2 times, so 1 time. Nidhi, she used 1 time, and Khushi, she used 4 times. 2 times, and 2 times. And I have observed one particular observation that whenever the people are saying something, the most 80% in the 80% of the cases, the use of or some pauses is only when either we are introducing anything or we are giving example. For example, Toastmaster Pulkit or Toastmaster for general evaluator. For example, he is calling anyone. So if he is saying Toastmaster Piyush, so he will take a pause, Toastmaster Piyush. So my suggestion to you is just take a short pause, maybe of 1 second or 2 seconds. Rather than using or any sound words, any filler, you just take a pause and then speak it. And also, many of you have introduced either saying so or For example, someone is saying, my name is even me. Even I also introduced myself. I also said, before saying good afternoon, I said or so. So I have noticed also, for example, Piyush, in the starting, he said that my name is Piyush. So try taking a pause rather than saying these filler words. So that will ultimately improve the quality of your speech. Thank you very much.
Now it's time to listen the report of timer. I would like to invite Toastmaster Piyush to the stage and present his report.
Before presenting my report, I would like to ask a question. What is the importance of sticking to your schedule or sticking to your time? Can someone? Okay.
We use this.
Okay.
Respect yourself and other people.
Respect? you value your time. You believe that time is money. It helps in bringing the productivity, it helps in bringing the efficiency, it helps in making your energy and time better. So with that, I'd like to present the report. In the first, so before the first section, as Sergeant of our PM Bhavna, she was so allotted time was 2 minutes. He took 2 minutes. Joke Master Rahul, allotted time was 3 minutes. He took 2 minutes. Presiding Officer PM Ashish, allotted time was 5 minutes. Took 9 minutes. TMOD Pulkit Gupta, allotted time was 20 minutes, took 19 minutes 30 seconds. Journal Evaluator TM Sonu, allotted time was 5 minutes, she took 4 minutes 57 seconds. Then in the next section, prepared speeches, TM Gaurav, allotted time was 7 minutes, he took 7 minutes 5 seconds. Next, TM Abhishek, allotted time was 7 minutes, he took 6 minutes 49 seconds. So all are eligible for the voting. Cable topic, TM Ankit, allotted time was 2 minutes, he took 2 minutes. Next, Harsh, TM Harsh, allotted time was 2 minutes, he took 1 minute 50 seconds. Pranav, he took 2 minutes, allotted time was 2 minutes, he took 1 minute 55 seconds. TM Anurag, allotted time was 2 minutes, he took 1 minute 38 seconds. Guest Nidhi Gupta, allotted time was 2 minutes, she took 1 minute. Guest Khushi, allotted time was 2 minutes, she took 1 minute 17 seconds. Next, TM Varun, allotted time was 2 minutes, he took 1 minute. Next, TM Diya, allotted time was 2 minutes, she took 1 minute. Guest Malika, allotted time was 2 minutes, she took 38 seconds, so she is disqualified for the voting. Next is Ayush, allotted time was 2 minutes, he took 1 minute 16 seconds. In the next section, evaluation, EM Siddharth, allotted time was 3 minutes, he took 3 minutes 16 seconds. TM Surinder, allotted time was 3 minutes, he took 3 minutes 16 seconds. Grammarian TM Dipanshu, allotted time was 3 minutes, he took 2 minutes 6 seconds. One more. AHA counter TM Dev, allotted time was 3 minutes, he took 2 minutes 2 seconds. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Detailed report. Now it's time for us to listen General Evaluator's report. Meeting started sharp at 10:30. Though we did not have all of the role players in the room, still we were able to manage them to start the meeting at 10:30. Kudos to the entire EC as well as all the Toastmasters. Second good thing, we did not have two role players today, Toastmaster Rohit and Toastmaster Dipanshu. Both took up their role impromptu and played well. Especially Toastmaster Dipanshu, he always comes as a savior for the MCTC, and even without knowing that he is going to take the role as grammarian, he just stood up and took up the role. Kudos to him. And big thanks to him. Regarding the before meeting preparation, I have one recommendation here, one observation rather I should say, that all the role players are supposed to be here at 10:15, but sometimes it is not happening, and because of that last moment roles are being assigned to someone else, so this creates hiccup in the meeting. So we need to take care of this, and ideally the coordination should be there well before in advance, that if someone is not reaching at 10:15, so that role could be assigned to someone else. Coming to specific role players, Sergeant at Arms took up the role at the last moment. Toastmaster Ashish, great energy, good access. Always, whenever I sit there, I feel like what this time means. Always he come up with some good exercises and brings the mind in the on the sport, so that we all come from a different mindset. And whenever he comes up with the exercises, then we all come together at the same place, and that brings the presence of the mind. Toastmaster Pulkit Gupta, good confidence, good body language, great energy. Only one small recommendation, that at MCTC we have a tradition of getting prepared with a PPT. So it helps everybody to understand who is taking the role and who is coming the next. Toastmaster Rahul, whenever you come on the stage, there is a joke. So that itself is a joke. Kudos to you. All three role players, all the three role players were well prepared. Only one recommendation for the role players who were just referring the script. These are the small roles. If you come prepared well in advance, you will be able to develop your confidence in a better way. Very detailed report. It was really insightful and useful. Table topic master, calm and composed. Only one recommendation for you, that whenever means you are coming and playing as a role of table topic master, you should demonstrate that OREO approach. Generally, that practice we do have. OREO means OREO. O stands for opinion, R for reasoning, E for examples, and O again for opinion. Means why you are saying that. All the two evaluators, good evaluation done by you, very detailed and constructive feedback given to the respective speakers. Only one recommendation for both of you, that every speech is having some speech objective. So you can just emphasize upon those speech objectives. All the table topic speakers did well at it, like coming to the stage without any preparation. That itself is a big courage, and you have shown the fortitude. So this was overall evaluation from my side. I would like to hand over the stage to preside.
So what a great meeting we had. Agree to that?
Yes.
Great. So voting link has already been shared for selecting best role players. Before you do the voting, can we have a big round of applause for all the role players? They have put in very hard work, and they have done their job very well. A big round of applause for all the role players. I'm giving you a minute to cast your vote. And oh yes. They are marking their votes. So I think I'd like to share that 4 new members have joined club in the month of April. They are Varun Arora. Varun Arora, another member, has joined recently. Amit Ranjan. Amit Rajan. Right, I think he is not there. Mayank Gupta. Mayank is also not there, and Piyush Jain. So Amit, Varun and Piyush are there. So can we have a round of applause for that? And wish you all the very best in your Toastmaster journey. Thank you. I think voting has been done. Now I'd like to go to the guests and would like to seek their feedback about today's meeting. Overall, what did you like?
So it was a very good experience, and just the idea of getting to speak and the exposure you get was very nice.
Do you like the structure of the meeting? Do you love it?
Just just perfect. In fact, I thought these happened so impactful in one session. I don't know what it will be like on a regular basis.
Great to hear that. It made you excited. You would like to say anything?
I think the whole day, this whole event organized was absolutely amazing. It covered on everything. Exactly. It covered everyone speaking and all the points that we had to discuss. And even the evaluation was amazing. So I really enjoyed it.
That the beauty of the Toastmasters meeting structure is really very amazing. It helps you develop holistically as a speaker. So please, a big round of applause for her. Thank you. Thanks for your feedback. So, for the guests, if they want to understand about the how to go about the membership and all, you can get in touch with Toastmasters Guru, or even can reach out to me. So I think voting has already been done. Now I'll just check with the. Thank you. So I have 5 awards. So first is the best auxiliary role player. Can we have your attention here, please? So best auxiliary role player. So 3 role players we had. Toastmaster Harjinder. So Harjinder voting has gone to the person. And Toastmaster Pius. Deo Pius DD what D? This goes to Toastmaster Dipanshu. How many speeches we had in table topic? 12 speakers I think. 10 speakers. 10 speakers. Who do you think is winning the table topic award? Well, the topic was very amazing. What was the topic? Useless. So well, it goes to Toastmaster Pranav. Every time Pranav is coming, is taking award.
He was supposed to be actually
Transfer option is still there.
Best role players. Role players means the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Pulkit, then we have Joke Master, Toastmaster Rahul, Table Topic Masters, Toastmaster Ankit. These 3 are the role players. So everybody I think has done their job very very well. And who do you think is surpassing the others? I know you are also the general evaluator. Sorry, I missed it. General evaluator. So who do you think? General evaluator, Toastmaster today. So what's the opinion we are forming? Is Pulkit or well, it goes to Toastmaster Pulkit.
Michael.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we have Best Evaluator Award. 2 evaluations, Siddharth, Toastmaster Siddharth and Toastmaster Surinder. Yes, it goes to someone with name S and yes, it goes to Toastmaster Siddharth. Can we have a round of applause for Siddharth?
Right nose and dark colors.
Thank you, Siddharth. last but not the least, the Best Speaker Award.